Namaste and welcome to Times Health Plus. I am Ms. Vinita Sakpal, a senior nutritionist and a yoga teacher from the Yoga Institute, here to guide you all on a beautiful topic of heal yourself naturally with 4 lifestyle pillars. So we are meeting each other since long weeks and we are talking about different pillars, and with the pillars we have come on the second pillar, right? Do you all remember the first pillar was sleep and second was stress? So in today's session also we are going to continue with stress, like how it's going to impact our body and what are the foods that will be helpful to balance your stress. Okay, to proceed ahead, let's understand what we are going to learn in specific in today's session. Number one is we are going to understand the foods that will calm your mind and body. We will understand the gut brain axis. Then we will find the hidden stimulants that usually triggers the stress, and certain daily food habits that will help you to build up certain kind of environment, certain kind of routine that will balance your stress. And as usual, at the end, we always give you a task of the week, which you have to do it regularly and see a good change in yourself. Okay. So if you remember in the last session, we have talked about what is stress and how it impacts on our body. And according to that, I had given one task. So just hoping that you all must have tried your best to work on these tasks and see results in yourself. Okay. So Before we start with the session, good morning to everyone. Shibani ji, Jagdeep ji, glad that you have taken this part to learn certain things to enhance your lifestyle. Okay, so let's proceed with today's session. Number one thing we are going to learn is gut brain axis. Okay, now gut brain axis is certain kind of thing that is situated in our body, which have a very direct connection with each other. Okay, so how to understand this? Your gut and your brain is connected with one nerve, which is called as vagus nerve or vagus nerve. Okay, now whatever the signals need to transform from brain to gut, gut to brain, is being transported through these nerves. Okay, now this connection is such a direct way that even one is being wrong. For example, if your brain is not functioning that effectively, it will affect your gut, your digestion. If you have consumed something wrong and your gut health is poor, there is indigestion. Similarly, it will affect your moods, your emotions. Okay, so that direct connection has been situated in our body. Okay, so let's understand little chemical, you can say, perspective of this gut brain axis in a very simplified way. So in our body, if specifically we say in our gut, there is a formation of certain neurotransmitters with the help of certain gut bacteria. Okay, now in our gut there are millions, trillions of varieties of bacteria, and there are good bacteria and then there are bad bacteria. Both are important for our body. Okay, in good bacteria the percentage should be 80% in our gut, and bad bacteria can be around 20%. So 80-20% ratio is comparatively fine for our body to survive. But if this ratio goes up and down, then what happens? All the gut functioning will go on toss. Okay, so what happens when we eat something wrong? For example, fried food, junk food, processed food, something which is not acceptable by our body, it will affect your, number one thing is the neurotransmitter which are being formed in your gut and not in your brain. What do you mean by neurotransmitter? These are basically a signals sent through certain nerves. Okay, so all the neurotransmitter, all the nerve ending will have certain neurotransmitter. These are all chemical, you can say, chemical structures that has been made up in your gut, and there are varieties of these chemical structure. Few are known like serotonin, dopamine, and even GABA. GABA is gamma aminobutyric acid. Now these three other varieties which are usually formed in our gut. So 90% of serotonin is usually made in the gut and not in the brain. This serotonin is like a happy chemical. So whenever you are happy, whenever your mood is happy, it means your serotonin is something that has sent signal to your brain to make you happy. Okay, so we think that everything, the emotions are coming from a brain, but ideally the actual emotions are being generated in a gut, and that signal is being sent to your brain, and that's how we react. Okay, so 90% of the serotonin is built up in our gut. Now this gut microorganisms, if they are good in percentage, then serotonin will form 90%. But if there is more of bad gut microorganisms, then somehow the serotonin will not be able to be made by the gut, and that's how we start getting different sort of emotional imbalance. For example, mood swings, anxiety, depression sort of symptoms, fatigue, irritation. Why these all emotions are aggravated? Because your gut must have produced certain bad microorganisms more in amount, which has affected the chemical secretions. Okay, now, so what does this conclude? This concludes that if your gut is healthy, then your mind will be happy. Okay, so you have to make sure whenever there is any disturbance in your moods, so what has gone wrong? Your intake must have gone wrong, your gut health must have been imbalanced. That's the reason your moods must have been changed. Okay, understood? Namaste Arunji, good morning. Okay, Fine. So let's understand how to find this gut brain imbalance. Okay. So there are certain signs that usually we see when your gut is being disturbed. Now, can you all just participate and tell your answers in comment section that have you ever noticed that certain mood swings happens and you end up eating something wrong food? And specifically, can you specify which food is something that becomes your comfort food when you are little depressed, when you are little sad or irritated? How is your choice of food? So can you write that in your comment section? Let's see how many people are aware and being mindful about their choices. Okay, because what we choose is something which decides how your body will be. Okay, Harish ji says vada pav. Okay, so you love vada pav. Okay, what else? Pizza. Nice. Amit ji, very much water, fruits, less food. Nice, Amit ji, good balance you have. Shishila ji says sweets. Yes. So few people are prone pani puri. Oh my god. So everyone's favorite food is coming out. So great. So every time we are sad, every time we are unhappy or something has gone wrong with our emotions, somehow we find comfort, right? And that comfort is usually in a food, because since childhood we have developed so much of memories related to the food that somehow to comfort ourselves or to change that emotion, we go to something that makes us happy, right? So, okay, Shobharani ji says home food. That's really nice choice. So, this is how we put our body in certain type of pattern. Okay, so since longer ages, when we set ourselves into certain pattern where when you are a little emotionally disturbed, you will go to foods majorly either towards sweet sort of food or towards savory sort of food. Okay, so why we decide that? Because that's how your body is deficient with certain things, or you have overloaded with certain wrong things, that somehow your signals are not being sent in a right manner from your gut to the brain. Okay, and therefore we end up having something sweet or savory items. Okay, now people who make something at home during certain scenarios, they have trained themselves mindfully that whatever happens, even if I crave for something that is fancy, that is something fast food sort of thing, I'll try to make it home. Okay, so that training will only be happen when you become little mindful, your choices will become mindful. Okay, so at once in a while, if you go for having a certain foods like pizza, vada pav, pani puri, it's absolutely acceptable by the body because it's once in a while. But when we put this into a pattern, then it creates an issue for our body. Okay, so anything that goes beyond balance, anything that is excess in amount, will surely trigger our body in multiple ways, right? So how to bring that balance is something which is important, but before that we have to find the signs. What are the signs that our body is giving that something is wrong between the gut brain axis? When we analyze the signs, then we'll be able to be aware to choose certain things. Okay, so let's see what are the signs. So number one is a physical sign. The moment you feel that you are little bloated, you are little constipated, you are feeling little tired throughout the day, it means that your body is unable to send right signal from your gut to your brain. Why? Because now gut has gone for a toss. Where this constipation, bloating and tiredness comes from, ideally when your digestion is not being that great throughout that day, when you feed your body with certain type of food which leads to indigestion, for example refined foods, processed foods, anything which have high fat. See, why these things are not suitable for our body? Because in these foods certain things are excess in amount, excess of oil, excess of salt, excess of sugar. Anything that goes excess in your gut, of course your gut will go in a stress, right? It will go haywire that how to react on these excess items now. So when excess goes in your body, gut will not be able to promote right chemicals in the intestine, right? Because of which we get bloated and constipation sort of issues. Okay, so these are the physical sign that you have to look into. Number two is your mental sign. Mental science says that when you feel like there is constant anxiety, constant fear, constant worry in your mind for small things that happens in your life, that's how it means your gut and brain is not functioning that well. Okay. Even brain fog, what do you mean by brain fog? Suddenly you just become blank, you don't know what to take next step, you become a little worried, you get that panic sort of environment where you don't understand how to react on certain things, how to be that creative. So that is what brain fog usually happens when your gut is not being satisfied well. Okay. Irritability, why we constantly get irritated? Because your gut is unable to produce the chemicals that is required for your brain to function well. Serotonin is not getting well formed, dopamine is not getting well formed. Dopamine is like a reward chemical, where when you do something good you really feel proud about yourself. That comes when dopamine is released, right? So when we go to interviews, when we go to some examination, how we get butterflies in our body, because we are constant in that fear how that interview will go, how the exam will go, and once you clear that and you get good result, then you feel that happiness. Why? Because that time your dopamine is released, your gut is being healthy at that time, right? So that's how you have to find the signs mentally, physically, and last is through eating patterns. So in eating patterns usually we crave for certain things. Now, let me tell you a difference between a hunger and a craving. Hunger always will come after specific time, and it will come very slowly. For example, if you had breakfast at 8 o'clock, around 12ish or 11, 1 o'clock, you will feel little hunger. You will feel like eating something. Your stomach will start grumbling. You will feel little tired or low, and therefore you feel like having something. So when a signal comes on right timing and when it comes very gradually, then it's a hunger. But when suddenly a craving comes, suddenly you feel like having a chocolate only, or you feel like having something Indian sweet only, or you feel like having something namkeen only, that means it is a craving, it's not a hunger. So whenever craving is coming, first of all, we need to check how was your meal intakes, whether there was not longer time between your meals, what varieties of food you have consumed, what was your choice of food. These all things really matter when constant cravings are coming, right? So whenever cravings is coming, always take a good pause. I always say in, I think most of the sessions I've always talked about how to control your cravings. Whenever you get the cravings, always take a good pause, take one glass of water, wait for 10 to 15 minutes and see how your body is reacting. If your hunger has gone off, that means it was a craving, it was not a hunger. Okay. So usually when your gut brain axis is imbalanced, we get a craving of very strong things which our body is prone towards, like sugar, processed food like namkeens or caffeine. Few people are addicted to caffeine so much that every 2 hours they require some stimulant to make them energetic. But what all these do, temporary happiness they'll give you, right? Whenever we eat that sweet, whenever we eat that namkeen or caffeine, we get very energetic, we get very happy, our mood is enhanced. But right after 1 or 2 hours, again you will feel like eating something because your mood has gone down, right? So these are like stimulants. For a temporary period will give you happiness, but after that it will again put you in that vicious cycle of guilt eating and emotional imbalance. Okay. So when we understand these signs, then we can react on it and take right decisions. Okay. Okay, Jagdeep ji says tired tried substituting with cold water after last session, it works. Okay. um okay, so for the cravings, I think you are talking about that whenever you get craving, you take some water and it has worked for you, right, Jagdeep ji? If yes, then it's a good start that you have tried something simple and basic, but it has worked for you. The only thing is, instead of cold water, I would suggest just take room temperature water, because that becomes suitable for your internal body temperature. Okay, anything that we do opposite to the body temperatures or internal body system, somehow your body undergoes a shock and then it has to work more vigorously to bring balance, right? So we don't have to put our body into stress and release the cortisol unnecessary, right? So room temperature water is also beneficial. Okay, fine. Chalo, let's proceed ahead. Now let's understand the calming foods, the foods that will really calm your nervous system. Okay, number one is the complex carbs. Okay, so if you remember very previous sessions, we have talked about carbs. There are two types of carbs. One is simple carbs and one is complex carbs. Okay, simple carbs are the starchy ones, which doesn't have any good amount of fiber inside it. It is just a starch, like a maida. Okay, complex carbs will be a grain which have good amount of fiber along with it. Okay, so more of complex carbs when we will consume, our blood sugar will be stabilized all the time. Okay, then your body don't have to work more vigorously to bring your blood sugar in a right level. Okay, so complex carbs specifically will be present in all your whole grains majorly. Okay, like your oats, your rice, unpolished rice, not necessarily brown rice only, but unpolished, which we call like ukda chawal, even that will be helpful. A whole grain like a wheat, which have high percentage of fiber and you're not sieving it. Okay, apart from that, all your millets like your ragi, jawar, bajra, then comes your dalia, broken wheat, quinoa, then comes barley. So these are all good sources of complex carbs. Now there are multiple other millets also in the market. For example, foxtail millet, uh, the little millet, porso millet, brown top millet. Then there is a kodo millet. So varieties are available throughout the India. So wherever you feel, whatever is available in your vicinity, please go and try these variety. More the variety you introduce in your body, more varieties of bacteria will be formed in a gut to digest that food. Okay, we require varieties of bacteria in our gut to keep our gut health healthy. Okay, if we just have one type of food and that same type of bacteria are growing, then somehow it will not, there will be overgrowth of that particular bacteria. That's the reason varieties are important. Okay, fine. Now let's understand next type of food, which is magnesium rich. Now magnesium is one of the important mineral which helps to relax your muscles, which lowers the cortisol in the body, which helps in even calcium absorption, which helps in even better sleep. That's the reason magnesium rich foods need to be added on regular basis. Maximum you will get this magnesium in your leafy greens. Okay, then your nuts and seeds, specifically pumpkin seeds, will have higher amount. Banana will have higher amount of magnesium. Ideally magnesium is present in all the foods, but the maximum amount is present in the leafy greens and the nuts and seeds. Okay, and banana. So that's how you can introduce these all varieties into your diet. The third is the tryptophan food. Tryptophan is again a amino acid. Amino acid is a part of a protein. Okay, now this helps in your serotonin buildup. So whatever the serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter, a chemical which gets produced in our gut, to produce that serotonin, tryptophan is something which is important, a protein, right? So where you will find this tryptophan? In your curd, in your tofu, nuts, seeds. These are the good source of tryptophan. Okay, note it down. Fine. Number 4 is omega-3 fats. Omega-3 fats are the one which reduce the inflammation in our body. From where this inflammation is formed in our body, specifically on regular basis, whatever the pollution we inhale, whatever the dust goes in our body, then whatever the wrong food items you consume in excess amount, like sugar, salt, or fatty items, or refined processed kind of things, ready to eat items, when these all things we consume in excess amount or on regular basis, somehow this inflammation will keep on increasing. So to balance that or to reduce that, omega-3 fats are important, which are present in flax seeds, walnut, and chia seeds, even a hemp seed. Okay, so flaxseed 1 tablespoon every day, walnut 2 to 3 every day, which is 5 grams every day. Chia seeds 1 tablespoon per day. Start with 1 teaspoon and then you can go till 1 tablespoon. Anything we introduce new in our routine should be introduced very gradually. Okay, so start with 1 teaspoon and then you can go up till 1 tablespoon and see how your body is reacting to these all things. Okay, next is the herbal or the herbs, the natural herbs which creates very calming effect on our body. So when we are calm, we are able to balance our stress in our body, right? So these are few ingredients which act according to what is required in the body. For example, if there is high cortisol which has been released in the body, your body, when we add these items, automatically it will sense that cortisol need to be reduced and therefore it will act to reduce the cortisol. Okay, so if any other thing is being wrong in your body and these things you will consume, then it will affect or it will act for that particular thing. So these are called like an adaptogenic, because they adapt what according to what environment requires. So ashwagandha, tulsi, chamomile tea, these are very good sources that you can add to calm your body. Okay, next is hydration. Water intake is one of the important source of nutrient for our body, because it acts like a wonders in our body. It first of all supplies good lubrication to your overall body. It is the one thing which carries all the nutrients to multiple areas, like it acts like a transportation. Oxygen has been transported, then nutrient has been well absorbed because of water, specifically the water soluble vitamins like B and C, right? So cucumber soup, coconut water, lemon water, having every sort of fluids every now and then, consuming at least 2 liters of water per day will always keep your body energetic. It will not make you feel fatigued. If your water intake is low in your body, then somehow you will feel tired throughout the day. So always make sure whenever you feel that tiredness, instead of having some food, first hydrate yourself. Make sure your hydration is at least 2 liters per day. Okay, again, the amount of hydration will vary according to height, according to age, according to the physical activity that you do. Okay, now let's take some questions that have come. Arnav ji says, what should we do when we have craving for something sweet and my HbA1c is 6.5? Now, HbA1c 6 means you are already a diabetic. So you have to make sure whenever you get the sweet craving, keep natural sweeteners in your house. Do not keep any sweet which is unhealthy for your body around you. If you keep those, your senses will always grab those and it will make you to eat unnecessarily. Okay, so first of all, don't keep those things which are not suitable for your body around you. Secondly, natural sweeteners could be dates, anjeer, raisins. These are fine to be consumed, but eat them with some fiber. For example, dates with almond, raisins with walnut. These becomes like a healthy version to balance your blood sugar levels. Okay, or topping these all nuts and seeds all together on a curd or a yogurt and having it, so that will balance your sugars. Okay, whenever you get a sugar craving, as I always say, take some pause, drink some water, and even after that you feel like eating something, that it means throughout your day somehow you have not satisfied the proteins and fibers in your diet. So focus into your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and try to make that balanced meal plate. Right amount of carbs, right amount of proteins, right amount of fibers in your diet in lunch, along with that probiotic like buttermilk will really help you to balance, really help you to come out of these cravings. Okay, even if we miss a protein in a breakfast and you had carbs and fiber, still it will impact your sugar levels. Still you will get cravings right after 2 hours, because proteins are the one which gets digested very slowly, gradually in the body. Therefore, right after 3 to 4 hours only you will get the hunger pangs. Okay, you will get the hunger signal. So that's the reason proteins are one which is very important to add in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Even after doing this, if you get certain cravings, keep certain healthy items around you like makhana, murmura, dates with some seeds, something like that. Okay, if you keep healthy items around you, you will always go for those items only. I hope I have answered your question. Fine. Let's proceed ahead with Chandanji. Are pieces of papaya and warm water in morning, empty stomach, good for removal of brain fog? Not necessary to have a papaya in the morning. Just taking a lukewarm water with soaked nuts and seeds will really be helpful, because first thing that need to be introduced in the body is the lukewarm water and healthy fat. So this combination will be really helpful to overcome your brain fog and enhance your energy levels. Okay, fine. Will it help to avoid brain gut for eating papaya and warm water in the morning daily? I've already answered that. Okay. Chandanji says, will eating boiled egg daily will help, ma'am? Yes, you can have it on regular basis. It's a good complete protein. In your breakfast, you can add that. In your lunch, you can add that. Again, having anything in excess will always create an issue. So bring a balance into these things. Okay, but it's fine to have at least 1 or 2 eggs every day, if you are not having any cholesterol issues. Fine. Should we avoid pizza at night time? Of course. Pizza is not going to be healthy to consume at night time. First of all, it's made from refined flour. Secondly, it has so much of calories that your body will take so time to digest that food even while you are sleeping. So when you're sleeping and the digestion is happening in your body, somehow the healing process is not happening in the sleep time. Therefore, you even after your 7 to 8 hours, you will still feel tired in the morning, right? So it's important that you preferably avoid pizzas at night time and put it in the lunch if you want to, and make pizzas with healthy base, like a protein base, moong dal base or a oats base or a bhakri base, and then make your own sauces at home, put lots of vegetable on it, and you can grate paneer over it, so it becomes a healthy version. Okay, fine. Let's proceed ahead with the next slides, then I'll come to the following questions. Okay. Now let's understand the foods which are the triggers for our stress. Okay. So whenever we are under stress, ideally we go for caffeine, refined sugar, processed foods, excess salty items, or alcohol or smoking. Okay. So whenever you go for caffeine, it is first of all rising your cortisols even more, and it will make you even more anxiety and anxious. So, what happens basically when you take coffee, instantly you will surely feel very energetic. But right after an hour or so, you will get that palpitation, you will get that sort of anxiousness. Your cortisol will rise up, even your blood pressure might rise up. Okay, so preferably during your stress, instead of going for coffees, go for very mild herbal tea concoctions, which will calm your nervous system. Okay, and this caffeine is not just present in coffee, it is also present in colas like energy drinks, it is also present in chocolates, so and teas also. So preferably avoid these things whenever you are under a stress. Okay, and also if you want to take caffeine, preferably 2 p.m. before you can have it once a day, but after 2 p.m. you should avoid taking caffeine. Okay, next is refined sugar. Now refined sugars are like simple carbohydrates, so whenever you have anything made from refined sugar, it will spike your blood sugar, and that blood sugar, once it is spiked, insulin will come and try to subside it immediately, and within 1 or 2 hours again you will get the craving. So this cycle will keep on happening, right? So never consume any refined sugar products which are present in sweets, mithais, bakery items, preferably cake, pastry, ice creams. So avoid these things during your stress. Okay, next is processed foods. Whenever we have processed foods which have a lot of preservative, food additives, anti-aging, anti-caking, emulsifiers, stabilizer, lot of chemicals into this processed products like chips and instant noodles or ready-to-eat items, this will surely lead to inflammation in your body, because the chemicals which are added into this product are foreign for our body. It is not acceptable by our body. So whenever these chemicals goes in our gut, it will lead to inflammation, leading to bloating, constipation, many more things. So have you all experienced whenever we have chips, like a one big packet of chips non-stop while watching something or because you are sad or something, the next moment we feel little bloated. Have you ever experienced that? Write your answer in comment section. Let me see who have experienced these sort of things. Whenever we have something salty, namkeen sort of things, and we binge eat on it, immediately we will feel little gassy effect and a little bloated effect, right? Why this happens? Because excess of chemicals in our body will always lead to inflammation and it will imbalance your gut brain axis. Okay, now, even anything which is salt rich, for example, why salts are added into packaged products? To preserve that food in the market for years, like for 6 months, 1 year, and many more years, right? So that old food or that leftover foods are something that we are consuming. So this excess salt, when it goes in our body, first of all, it draws a lot of water from your body and it will pump it in the cells. So cells will swell up and it will make you feel bloated and fatigue. Okay, so water retention happens usually because of excess salt. Because of this water retention, there will be pressure on your heart. So even your heart will palpitate a little faster, and then it will create a pressure on the kidney itself, which will help you, which will make getting a lot of urination, right? So avoid excess of salt. And lastly is the alcohol and smoking. Now these are something like a coping mechanism. When nothing is happening good in life, what makes you happy or go high is alcohol and smoking, right? So it is like a temporary solution that you might enjoy that kind of things for that particular period, but again, once that is gone off from your body, it will lead to make you feel anxious. Okay, fine. Okay, let me see a few more questions. Drinking milk and some fruits too. Okay, Chandanji, I'm unable to recall the question that you have asked before. Can you just frame that question all together in one statement so I can help you out? Okay. Shabarani ji says, doing yoga classes regularly, I have get body pain. That is because either you are dehydrated, that's the reason your muscles are not working that great. Secondly, your proteins must be missing. And thirdly, you should always introduce vitamin C after your post workout, which will help to recover the muscles which have gone wore and tore during the physical activity. Okay, so check with your food intake, check your proteins are right or not, check whether your hydration is right or wrong, check whether you are introducing good amount of vitamin C post workouts. So that's how it will help you to really come out of that ache and pains. Okay, fine. Is black coffee without sugar good for liver? Okay, too much of coffee will always not be good for the complete body, not only liver. I would suggest, if you are a person who loves consuming coffee, you can have once a day, preferably in your mornings, but do not club with any meal, or neither have on empty stomach. Okay, so for example, if you had your breakfast, after a good 30 minutes, you can have your coffee. So that one day a meal, enjoy that one day cup, that one cup very nicely, sip it very slowly, enjoy that process so that you will not crave for caffeine again in the later time of the day. Okay, so that's how you can try it out. Okay. Anjali ji says, I feel bloated even with water. Okay, so that could be one thing, that either you taking too much of water required, not required by the body. Secondly, if salt is been excess in your intake, indirect salt, not the direct salt I'm talking about, indirect salts that comes from processed food items, whether it's bakery, whether it's chips, whether it's biscuits, whether it's anything that has been processed and come in your house, if that food intake is there continuously in your diet, then because these salts, these sodiums are accumulated in the cells already, leading to water retention in your body, and apart from that you take excess water in your body, it will surely lead to bloating. Okay, so first of all, look at the choices of the food that you're consuming on regular basis, and then try to balance your water intake. Okay, fine. Vinitji says we must feel good about home cooked food first, then we can make the difference with bad food. Absolutely right. So, accepting what is already there in your platter with that whole heart is really important, which will be next slide. Because if you are not happy with your regular food intake, somehow your mind will always crave for outside food because that looks great, that tastes great, the texture is good, the appearance is good, and your senses have sensed that since longer years, and you'll go for those foods only. But if same senses you train in such a way that whatever food comes in your plate is going to be healthy for your body, is going to act like a medicine for your body, and it's going to be tasty, and the appearance you have accepted, then somehow even your home cooked meals you'll be able to enjoy. Okay, so it's again about the mindset, the perspective that we look towards our food intake. Fine. So Arnavji says, which is the best substitute for sugar, jaggery, desi, khand, or shakkar? Best substitute for sugar, jaggery, honey, rock sugar, desi rock sugar will be naturals like dates, raisins, anjeer, prunes. These are like the four best thing you can introduce in place of the simple sugars. Okay. Amitji says black coffee good for liver. No, it's not good for liver. If anything that goes in excess will always create a bad effect on the body. Okay. I have low sodium levels in the body. Please give best solution. If you have low sodium in the body, please check which type of salt you're using in your food preparation. It should be iodized salt, not the rock salt. Rock salt can be used only for toppings, like on salads or any sort of drinks that you make, maybe a lemon water or something. But in your food preparation, there should be good iodized salt. So please go for iodized salt in your cooking recipes. Apart from that, you can introduce good amount of ORS on regular basis to balance your sodium. Okay. Okay. Next is Jaising ji says my BPs fluctuate at morning and then it becomes normal in afternoon. What could be the reason? Check your dinner. If your dinner is lacking with certain nutrients, if you eating very less food in the dinner, or there is a longer gap between your dinner and the next day breakfast, then that need to be prevented. So in the morning, always introduce lukewarm water with some spices like jeera, soft, if possible methi, or maybe ajwain into it, along with healthy fats like almond, walnuts. This will really help you to energize and your BP will be in right check. Avoid the longer fasting periods. Okay, fine. um Chandanji says, are drinking milk and eating some fruits good during night time? Okay, now there is fruits, so big no to have post sunset because it will hinder the digestion. It will lead to indigestion because post sunset our metabolism becomes very sluggish, right? So when it becomes very sluggish, your body won't be able to digest the heavy food items. And fruits are usually a sugar, natural sugar, simple sugars, right? So your body will, if you consume fruits at night time, it will always spike your blood sugar levels and leading to even bloating. So it's always said that before sunset you should have your fruits. In terms of milk, now it depends upon how your gut health is. If it's very healthy, you are able to digest your meals, then milk will be able for your body will be able to digest it at night time. But if you take milk at night time and you feel bloated and heavy before you go to bed, then somehow you should stop taking milk at night time, because it depends upon which enzyme, the lactase enzyme, is present in your body. If as we age, ideally this enzyme goes down, it degrades in our body, and that's the reason we are unable to digest milk at the later ages. But if your body is able to digest, then please you can continue. Always make sure your milk is good warm with some spices like turmeric, black pepper, cardamom to make it more digestible, and the amount should be less, and it should have a good gap between your sleep hours and your milk intake. Okay, fine. Okay, ma'am, I'm not having processed foods. Okay. Okay, I'm unable to recall your question. I'll just check what your question was, Anjali ji. Let me proceed ahead with another person. Snehal ji, I'm doing yoga daily, but my weight is not reducing. Okay, so just doing exercise will really not help to reduce your weight. You need to check your food intake also. If even if you eat very less, it's not going to help you in the weight loss. You have to eat right, in right proportion, in right time, with right intervals. When this has been well followed, then your weight loss, your exercise will support and will help you to lose your weight. Okay, so you have to check whether your meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, the major meals have more of proteins, more of fibers compared to your carbs. And when these three things are constantly present in your diet, then you will be able to lose your weight along with the physical activity. Also, in physical activity, see whether you're doing more of cardio and uh, minimal amount of strength training. Okay, so you'll be able to lose your weight. Fine. Manita ji says, I am having high levels of magnesium. What can be done? If you have high levels of magnesium, first of all, you need to stop taking any food which is related to high source of magnesium, like leafy greens, nuts and seeds. Hydrate very well. Make sure your calcium is under check, your vitamin D is under check, so that this calcium will be used up to absorb those things. So you need to check your other parameters also to analyze and reduce the magnesium. Okay. Bilnaji says, does taking ORS alternate day good for baby? Good for body? Um, Depends. Now, for example, if you take ORS on regular basis and you still having processed foods into your diet, then somehow it will be excess for your body. But if your energy levels are pretty fine and you are eating healthy food, then you don't require ORS every alternate day. It's not mandatory to have ORS on every alternate day until and unless how your body's electrolytes are. So you need to keep a check whether your sodium is low, your potassium is low or high, and accordingly introduce ORS. Unnecessary, not requires. Okay, fine. Arnavji say, can we take fruits and milk in daytime? Yes, you can take it in a daytime. Sonia ji says, how much gap should be between two meals? Some day take five small meals. Some says only two big meals is also fine. Some so confused between snacking versus fixed meal. Okay, let me tell you, our Indian body, our genetics are relied on Ayurveda base. We are from ancient Indian science. We are coming from those kind of environment where our genetics are made into certain patterns, and if we follow and respect that genetic, according to that, the conclusion is you should take three major meals, okay, and one snack in the evening. If you feel your breakfast is missing with something, then you can introduce between your lunch and your breakfast a small meal. It can be a fruit or some lemon water or makhana sort of thing. But if you think your breakfast are pretty good enough, it was moderate, it has satisfied your hunger, then you will not require anything to have between your breakfast and lunch. So breakfast, lunch, evening snacks, and dinner. This is how your meal pattern should be. Okay, fine. Shobha Rani ji says, is it good daily take supplementary with B12 and magnesium? You need to first check your levels. If they are deficient, then you can introduce your supplements. But if it's in a normal range, then you really don't require supplements. Okay, let's see the next slide and then I'll come back to the next questions. Okay, so this slide says, gives us a good idea about how to make your eating habits better by doing certain uh, set patterns. One is eat at regular intervals, because that will help to balance your blood sugar throughout the day. If your blood sugar is going high and low constantly, then the cravings will keep on coming. But if you have your meals at right intervals, like every 4 hours you are having your meals, and after snack and in your dinner there should be only 3 hours of gap, maximum 4. But every 4 hours if you have your meals, that means you are balancing your blood sugar levels, and therefore you will never get the craving. Secondly, always introduce one fruit and one probiotic every day, because it will help to balance your inflammation, it will help to reduce the inflammation. Okay, fruits are antioxidant which removes the toxins from the body. Probiotic releases good gut bacteria which helps in better digestion and removes the unnecessary toxins from the body. Okay, Next, number three is very important point. You have to eat your food very slowly and mindfully. Then and then only you will understand that you have actually filled up your stomach with the food that you have taken in one serving. If you eat very fast, your body won't be able to register your hunger. Okay, your body won't be able to understand your satiety level, and therefore we will feel that, oh my god, my meal has been finished so fast that I need a second serving, right? So this should not happen. You have to give at least 20 minutes to your brain to give signals. Now you have to stop, your stomach is already full. Okay, so whichever meal you consume, you have to eat so slowly that you occupy that good 20 minutes for that meal, and your body will be able to release signal right in a right manner. Okay, number four is always limit the caffeine to morning only. Post 2 p.m you should not consume. Again, on empty stomach also you should not consume caffeine. Okay, number five is hydrate throughout the day, because if you have hydrated, your fatigueness, your tiredness will go off. You will always feel energetic, and even your stomach will be gentle. It will not lead to any cravings. Okay, and lastly is include at least one anti-stress meal. So anti-stress meals are like very soothing, calming kind of meals, like khichdi, soups, porridges, something very warm, and you feel very calm and soothing after consuming those meals. So I think preferably you end your day with such kind of meals, which will really help for the better digestion before you go to bed also. Okay, so these are the tips that you can follow on regular basis to balance your stress and your eating patterns. Now, a simple mindful practice has been introduced over here to you all, that whenever you start eating, you should always take 3 deep breath. What is deep breath? Equal count of inhalation, equal count of pause, equal count of exhalation, and equal count of pause. This is called like a box breathing. Okay, so for example, 3 counts of inhalation, 3 count of pause, 3 count of exhalation, 3 count of pause. Or else 3 count of inhalation, 6 count of pause, 3 count of exhalation, and just 2 counts of pause. So these are like different techniques of deep breathings that you can do. At least 3 rounds you do before your food intake, you will feel little calmer, and your choices will be better to choose. Okay, right? Secondly, always express gratitude. Why gratitude is so important? Because when we are kind towards other, when we understand that the farmers who are working in the field for the raw material, how efforts they are putting just to give us that raw material. Apart from that, the people who cook food for you, when you become very kind towards them, grateful towards them, automatically your mind will become very calm before you eat. Okay, always you should eat your meals in a very calm state of mind, because if you are angry, if you're agitated, you will not express, or you will not even feel that the meal that is there in your plate is that tasty, or it's something that is going to nourish your body. The way we put our thoughts, the way we put the vibration in the food, that food becomes in that particular way it has been digested. If you are angry, the food will not be well digested. But if you're enjoying the meal, you're happy while eating the meal, automatically it will be better digested and the nutrients will absorb. So express gratitude always. You can either recite a prayer before starting your meals, or just say thank you god for this food and start your meal. Automatically you will feel a little different. Okay, and thirdly, always chew very slowly. More slowly you will chew, more the digestion will be better, and your mood swings also will be better. Your mood will also be enhanced. Okay, so these were the simple practices that you can introduce to overcome your cravings. Okay, so that's all for today. You can always follow us on the social media, Times Health Plus, Instagram, YouTube, where you'll get good insight about everything, yoga, diet, and everything. Our recordings will also be flashed over there, so you can always refer to them. And now we have come up with a great thing, which is task of the week. Okay, so what you have to do is multiple things I'm giving you all to do. Of course, it's a task that you have to invest your time little bit into it, but this will really help you to overcome your cravings. What you have to do is include any one calming food each day. Coming foods are basically the food which is very close to the nature. Nothing is processed in it. So fruits, nuts, soup, khichdi, herbal teas, whatever, which is home cooked basically. Okay. Number two is replace one stimulant. If you are taking coffee every day, try to replace 1 day or 2 day with herbal tea. Okay, with non-caffeine product. If you are consuming sugar every day, try to replace that with a natural sweetener. If you're taking energy drinks every day, try to switch with a natural juices like lemon water, coconut water. Okay, so you have to replace one stimulant. That for that you have to analyze your day completely. Okay, number three, practice one meal mindfully every day. So, what do you mean by mindful eating? There should be no disturbance around you. No TV, no phone, no laptop, no major discussion with anybody. You should always take that food only with yourself with all positive mindset. Okay, that's how you will eat that food very slowly and gradually. Okay, at least one meal you have to try in this pattern with all the gratitude, deep breath, take prayer, thankful, and then start your meal eating very slowly, enjoying your meal however the food is, but still enjoying it. This is how you can bring your mindful eating patterns more into your other meals also. Okay, and lastly, always journal. How do you feel after doing these all things? How was your mood? How was your energy? Everything, just note it down and analyze yourself for the 7 days. When you analyze, you will get your own answers that this was something which was suiting my body, and now I can continue this for the rest of life. Okay, so these all patterns you can practice, and you can always share your whatever you experience with us in the next session. Now let's come to the question answer session. So where were we? Okay, Vanita ji says, I'm having high levels of potassium. What can be done? So, if there is high levels of potassium, it means your kidney is under a pressure. So, you have to avoid all the food sources which doesn't contain any sort of potassium. So, potassium you will find more majorly in the green leafy vegetables, bananas. You will also find in certain of dals also. So there are certain lists, which it's a long list actually, but these are the few things you can for now try to avoid into your diet if your potassium is super high. And always do your kidney profile check to understand your parameters of your kidney, and then we can analyze what could be the reason for this potassium increase. Okay. Namita ji says, is cow milk is good for lactose intolerant person? Of course not, because milk contains lactose. It's a natural sugar which is present in milk. So anybody who is lactose intolerant should go for other sources which are plant based, not animal milk. All animal milk will have lactose inside it. And if your body is not digestible to lactose, then you have to go to plant based milk like oat milk, soy milk, almond milk, coconut milk. These are the better sources. Okay, fine. Anjali ji says, I'm having the bloating problem. You suggest reduce salt by having processed food. I'm not having processed food at all. Okay. Now let's understand, processed food doesn't means only the breads or anything like chips or bakery items. Processed food means even a small masala packet. If you see in that masala packet, like Everest masala packet, we get it at home, right? If you turn the packet and you will read the ingredient, you will see a preservative name. These preservatives are made from sodiums, like sodium benzoate, with sodium sorbate. Multiple preservatives are made from salt. So that's how we don't realize, indirectly, we are having hidden salts. Okay, cheese. The Amul cheese that we eat has so much of sodium, so much of salt in it. We literally feel it. Feta cheese loaded with sodium. Even though feta is good, but little amount, 20 grams, more than enough. But we add so much of cheese into our things that somehow it becomes excess for the body. Okay, again, the salt that you adding into your meals, the cooking recipes, that should be minimal. WHO says in complete day a human should consume only 2 gram of salt, but we Indians always go beyond that. Okay, 2 grams approximately. We dietitians say if you wish to, 5 grams will be like a limit You should not cross beyond 5 grams per day. So are we taking 5 grams of salt every day? Do you know how much 5 gram is? 5 gram is just 1 teaspoon, but we add that 1 teaspoon into each meal. So somehow we are exceeding the sodium in our body. So you have to be very conscious that salt cannot be added into everything. Salt can be added into only dal recipes or vegetable recipes. Salt should never go on salads. It should never go on fruit. Few people put it on fruit like chaat masala. Then it should never go in your rotis. It should never go into your rice preparation, and we do add it. So somehow excess salt is going in the body. Okay, fine. Let's proceed ahead. And of course, just sodium is not a issue for the bloating. For bloating, it could be any product which has heavy to digest meals. For example, excess spice, excess oil, excess sugar added into that recipe, or that food is being prepared, consumed, kept in a refrigerator, again got it out, heated, reheated, then consumed. So leftovers also lead to bloating. Thirdly, the time gaps between your meals. If morning you had 8 o'clock and your lunch was directly 2 o'clock, such a big gap. After 2 o'clock, directly having 9 o'clock dinner, such a big gap. So avoid those things. Poor physical activity will also lead to bloating. So multiple factors are there in terms of protein. Okay, fine. Next is ORS once in 15 days is okay. If athlete, then twice in 15 days are absolute. Yes, absolutely fine. ORS will not have that amount of side effect. If you taking within 15 days is absolutely acceptable. And if you're an athlete, then and you have everyday physical activity which is very intense, then you will require ORS on regular basis. Okay, fine. Amitabh ji says, ma'am, suggest some probiotics. Probiotics are present into all the fermented products like your curd, buttermilk, your idli dosa, fresh batter, not the ready-made ones. Fresh batter consumed on that particular day and not putting for the next day. So fresh batters of your idli dosa, uttappam. You can go for kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha, kefir. These are all good sources of probiotics. Okay, fine. Anjali ji says, I'm having the bloating problem even after having water. You suggest reducing salt by having processed food in less amount. Mostly, I never have processed food, which I've already answered, Anjali ji. Okay, Sonia ji says, need help for Manju, who is 17, listening to your program. She has acne on her face. What she should do? Acne is a sign of your poor gut. So if you're not digesting your food intake pretty well because of your poor eating patterns, need to check whether she is having right fibers in her diet or not. So fibers are like coming from your fruits with the skin, dals with the skin, whole grains with more of fiber like ragi, millet, jawar. Please add those in her diet. Make sure physical activity is there in her body, in her routine. It can be anything like a brisk walk, it can be walking, running, jogging, yoga, gym, whatever is comfortable with. Please tell him to do some sort of physical activity, because that's how the toxin will come out of body. If he's constipated often, or his waste is not coming on regular basis in right consistency, then somehow toxins are getting accumulated in our body, and that's the reason he's getting acne. So preferably there are multiple factors to work on acne, but I will just suggest, tell him to add more fiber into the diet, salads with lunch and with dinner. Then again, variety in the vegetable, not just sticking to same type of vegetable on regular basis. As season changes, you have to change your food patterns. So eating seasonal foods, fruits, multiple, at least 2 fruits up per day. Since he's an adolescent, he requires little extra amount of food intake compared to adults, right, because of his growing age. So preferably give him good amount of proteins in his diet, good amount of fibers coming from vegetable, nuts and seeds, fruits with skin, hydration. These all things will really help. Check whether he's dehydrated or not. So if he's dehydrated, if he's not taking 2 liters of water in per day, then tell him to take that. Okay, this will really help to overcome the acne issue. And always clean the face, the oiliness of the face. Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. It was a really great interaction that we had today. Good participation. I hope I have answered your all the questions. If you have any sort of queries, we can always connect in the next session. For now, eat with awareness, with all the mindfulness, do better choices in your food, and look into your complete day. By the end of the day, always reflect how was your day in terms of eating, in terms of mental health, everything. Okay, and that's how we'll take a leave. Enjoy your weekend, and namaste.